What's up? It's Stevie, and I'm here to talk about all of the books that I read in the month of March. This month had so many anticipated releases in it and so many DNFs. It was both a great month and kind of terrible for reading. Thankfully though, one of the first books that I started the month of March with was one of my most anticipated releases, and that was Immortality, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz, which, let me just show you, it is beautiful. And it is also beautiful here. So this is the sequel to Anatomy, a Love Story, which I got right here. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And this story, I won't tell you too much since this one's a sequel, but this story takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it is about a young woman, Hazel, who wants to become a surgeon in the late 1800s, I believe. So she is struggling with that, and there's all kinds of antics, and it's like a cute and funny and kind of gross love story, and it's just very unique and very historical fiction-y with a bit of a fantastical element. So the second book, I'll be honest, it really didn't need to happen. But I still loved it. Unfortunately, I do feel like some things didn't get wrapped up in a way that I wish that they did. The first book, Anatomy, was like a 5-star read for me, and I think that this one ended up being more like a 4.5. I still loved it, but it still didn't quite scratch an itch by the very end of the book, but I still loved it, and I still want to read so much more from this author, so I would definitely recommend it. And I just want to look at this brain dress all day. It's so beautiful. Okay, so the book that I read after this was the Gleam book, Gleam, number 3 in the Plated Prisoner series. The first book in that series is Guild, and I read it on audiobook. It's kind of, this series is just sort of a fun, crazy, dark time. Absolutely check the trigger warnings on this one. It's basically about the King Midas story, whose touch can turn everyone gold, and there's, you know, the legend of him turning a woman solid gold, but this kind of flips the story on its head, and we have a girl, Arin, who is gold touched. She's completely gold, and it's just about these crazy adventures that she goes on. But I will say, it is, as soon as you start the book, as soon as you start book number 1, Guild, it is so dark, it is so messed up. So absolutely, please don't just like jump into this book thinking that it's just like a fun, grand old time. It is really dark, really depressing, really sad, and pretty dang graphic. So I'm glad that I received that warning when I read about it on Reddit a few months back, but if I had not known that, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed this series. Because I got ample warning after having seen it on TikTok and everything, I felt like I was prepared, and I enjoyed the story a lot more. So just, if you would like, look up this series on Reddit or on other spaces online. I think getting a couple of spoilers so that you kind of know what you're jumping into, it really helps. It really makes this series a lot more enjoyable. So I enjoyed Gleam. I think I gave it, again, like a 4.5 or a 5. It was a good time. These books get crazier and crazier, and I remember the ending for this book was insane. Okay. And then after that, I picked up another anticipated release, and oh my gosh, that one is Flowerheart by Catherine Bakewell. This one is so adorable. I honestly just picked this one up because I saw that it was on like a new releases list on Goodreads, and I thought the cover was just so adorable. Her dress definitely makes me think of like Sophie from her dress definitely makes me think of Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. So yeah, cover by, loved it. It was such a cute, kind of cozy fantasy where we have our lead character, what is her name? I'm terrible with names. Clara, who Her magic is way too powerful. She's a witch, and she ends up accidentally causing an accident to one of her beloved family members, and she needs to correct it. And she, again, runs into some crazy antics trying to basically fix a curse that she has caused on one of her loved ones. And it's kind of dramatic, but also kind of cozy and nice, and there's like a potion shop, and I just really loved the atmosphere of this one. It is also a standalone, but I kind of wish that there was more, not gonna lie. But I really enjoyed this one. I have not seen anyone talk about it. I have only seen it in person and on Goodreads. So check it out. Honestly, this one needs a bit more hype. I think that if you love cozy fantasy, you want something kind of cute, a standalone, a YA fantasy book, you should try out Flowerheart. It just came out. And after that, oh my gosh, I read 6 volumes of Witch Hat Atelier. I read volumes 5 through 10, so now I'm completely caught up, and I am so obsessed with this manga series, and that's kind of troubling because I'm all the way caught up, and that means I'm only gonna get like a new entry into the series maybe once or twice per year, and that's not gonna cut it. but there's nothing I can do about it. I've heard people talk about it a bit on BookTube, and it's so good. For one thing, the art is literally gorgeous. Please look it up. But the story is also great. So we have a young girl. I forget everyone's names. What is her name? Coco. Coco, that's right. Coco discovers the secrets of how to become a witch in her world, and she is just learning how to become a witch and how to improve her skill. I'm not going to spoil how you become a witch, but it's something you can discover very early on in book 1. And it is so cute and so wholesome, and it is slowly getting darker, and that's my favorite kind of manga and anime, is when it's adorable but creepy. And that's exactly what you get with Witch Hat, and it is so pretty. I have literally never seen manga art that has been this gorgeous, and I think it's my favorite manga series. But time will tell the more that these novels come out. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. Read Witch Hat. Read it. It's so good. So I think around this time, this is when I was in a reading slump, because again, Witch Hat was so good and there was nothing more for me to consume or read from the series, and I was just kind of feeling slumpy. So I tried a lot of books and I threw a lot of them to the curb, and I think it's a me thing because all of them are books that I'm so excited about, and I'm really bummed that I wasn't really enjoying them. So one of them was Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. I really only got about 20 pages into this one, and I just put it aside. I just wasn't in the mood for it. It was me. I'm still interested in it. It's still on my TBR. Another one, I'm so sad, is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Again, one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I even went to Barnes & Noble, couldn't find this, and like made a poor employee go and look around the store to find this for me for like 30 minutes. Like, the poor thing, she was so determined to help me find it, which was so sweet. And then I turn around and go home and don't even really get into it very easily. So again, I think this is a me thing. I think I just need to be more patient to get into this book when the time is right, because this book looks so cool, and I really love pirate fantasy. Like, I'm a big fan of Robin Hobb's Live Ship Traders, so I want to find more pirate trader type fantasy that I'm into, but I'm struggling with it lately. But yeah, this was a DNF. I'm so sad, but I want to come back to it. Please, if you have read this, amp up this book to me. Get me excited, because I want an excuse to pick it up again. And another one that I DNF'd, oh my gosh, this is the second time that I have DNF'd this, and that is Malice by John Gwynne. This book looks so cool to me, and the appeal of having an animal companion, a wolf-like animal companion, is just my favorite thing. And, you know, it's a big thing in, obviously, Robin Hobb's books, so I just want to read more animal companion books, and I really want to get into this, but there are so many stinking characters. I literally got 124 pages into this thing, and I don't feel like I retained or really knew who was who. And I think that that's what I've heard. This seems like a book that I need to like take notes to get into. And just in my life right now, I don't really have the mental capacity. So I'm not gonna completely DNF it. It'll be on a pause for me. I will have to reread this 124 pages that I reread already. But again, if you want to amp this one up for me, do it. If you want to give me some of your notes so that I could understand the characters more, that would also be great. Thanks. Alrighty, and then after that, since I was DNFing, I think I DNF'd 4 books, 3 or 4. So I knew that when I get into this kind of mood, it's time to reread a favorite. So I picked up one of my favorite romances from last year, and that was Still Beating by Jennifer Hartmann. And okay, I must have been reading some dark stuff last year. This is the darkest of dark romances I have ever read. It's really messed up. And honestly, the beginning of this book, even though I knew what happened, it still makes me anxious. It's an anxiety-inducing book, which involves a girl named Cora and her sister's fiance, Dean, who really don't like each other, and they both end up getting kidnapped and locked in a creepy man's basement. And the book is about how they are able to escape, and like I said, it's a romance and it's very dark. I read volume 1 of The Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe. This is another really popular one. It's kind of dark, kind of cute, which is just, that's my favorite in anime and manga. It's just cute and creepy and dark. So I cannot tell you much about this one because there's really, the story is very, very simple in this first book. But what I can tell you is that there is, again, a young girl, and she is living out in the forest with a monster-like caretaker. If you look at the cover, you'll see these characters, and he cannot touch her or he will curse her for the rest of her life. And that's basically the tiniest of details that I can give you, and I'm hooked. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I'm waiting for the rest of my library holds to come in, but I cannot wait to read the rest because it's such like a gorgeous and creepy manga. I'm excited to see where it goes. Okay, and the last book that I read in the month of March was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is a book that I've been trying to read for years, honestly. I think it's been on my TBR since maybe like 2017, 2018, and I don't know, I was just like in the mood to pick up something that I felt like I know was really gonna be good. And I was watching one of Crystal Bookish Life's vlogs, and she was reading a Laini Taylor book too. And I was like, you know what? She has some of the most gorgeous writing. Her characters are so vivid. The worlds are so beautiful, and the romance is always really sweet. So, and of course, it was gorgeous. I absolutely loved Strange the Dreamer, and it took me a minute at one point in the book because I started the book completely hooked. I loved the character of Laszlo, and I loved reading about his life in the monastery and in the library. I love those as fantasy settings. Like, I want to read about a monk librarian. That would be like the best thing ever. And he is, but I would love a little bit more. I just love Laszlo. And what kind of threw me for a loop is once we got to part 2 of that book, the setting and story kind of completely changed. So I was a little bit thrown off, but I took it easy. I was very patient, and it turned out to be really fantastic. So I super loved Strange the Dreamer, and the ending was gut-wrenching. So I'm really excited to start that one. I'm going to be starting it super duper soon. I'm going to be starting Muse of Nightmares, book 2 of that duology. And yeah, if you haven't read Laini Taylor, oh my gosh, like, her books are just so beautiful. And even though a lot of times the romances that she writes can be very like instant attraction, you like believe it. You completely believe that they're head over heels in love with each other, because just the way that she writes it and the circumstances that they're in, it's so believable and so beautiful. So that was all of the books that I read or tried to read in the month of March. Please let me know if I DNF'd a book that you like love and adore. Please like encourage me to read it, because it was clearly just because I was in a book slump. I don't think any of those books were like crap or anything. I think they all sound so good, and they've been on my TBR for the longest time. So just let me know, because I would love to try them again. Anyways, that was all the books that I read. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat with you later. Bye.